And here I am, almost 1 o'clock. Almost 1 o'clock. Okay. So, let's get started. I didn't even put up a warning because it's just been so busy here on a Saturday night, or really Sunday morning, Sunday early morning. Um, and of course, we have some viral posts going on, and
on a Saturday night.
and I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that shared. Um, there's a lot of sharing going on, and it's really, it's so helpful to get the word out, about what's going on in El Paso that reaches over into New Mexico, right? White Sands Missile Range, and all the way up to Zorro Ranch. So, and there's, a lot of talking talking about that's not a possibility. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I'm going to explain it. And I'm going to do it by heart because um, I don't have my notes in front of me. I'm just going to do it by heart, um, and give you the best information that I can, the most accurate information, the truth, in facts, because there is just so much deception going on, right? There's so much deception. And, people are like, well, why can't we get accountability? Well, where are the prosecutors, right? Where are the prosecutors? So let's start. Today is 1,940 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room because he was a whistleblower and they were retaliating against him. They were retaliating severely after months of retaliating by abusing their power with UCMJ. They forcibly removed him from the barracks room and they took him to the arms room where they took his life. They took his life and then they stole his body and then they tried to profit off of his body. This is what the evidence indicates, that they stole his body, um, and they tried to profit. Well, maybe they did. Maybe they got the money and kept the money. I don't know. But by um, pretending to be his family, these are imposters, these are deceivers. They just operate deception all the time. And that they had this going on for a while. And of course, so when they took Richard's life, they, what they were already doing, they applied to Richard's case. And that is, get VA benefits, right, by um, posing as family members and then getting humanitarian aid, by recycling the body as an unidentified migrant and then taking him over the border. And, I don't know. The possibility is that they harvested his organs. So I don't know if they did that on the American side or if they did that in the La Diablo's mill, because the evidence indicates, and DNI has backed this up, that this Martha Aguilar, that she was, it's so emotional, that she was performing illegal C-sections with a group of young girls, um, training young girls to do illegal C-sections, and then, promising jobs to crisis pregnancy uh, young women and bringing them in, maybe young girls, right? And this is because they push all of this sex cult stuff. They push all this sex cult stuff, and with this Mormon faction influence, with many wives, many husbands, because we have equal rights now. So many wives, many husbands. They're always looking for a boyfriend. They're always looking for a girlfriend. They're always, all these partners, all these partners, and all these I don't know. You don't know who's your daddy. You don't know who's your daddy. So the family just gets all chaotic. And there's no loyalty then. There's no loyalty if you're always looking for a girlfriend, if you're always looking for a boyfriend. There's no loyalty at all. And then there is all this chaos also that has formed in all of this. And I just call it the sex cult because like there's no order in things at all. It's just, and that's why you see so many of these parents that don't know who's who and when and where and what and how and all of that, are so cruel to their children. And then the children end up getting into groups where they get um, groomed and radicalized and groomed for different things and then they get sold. I mean, remember the 14-year-old girl? I mean, this is just one example of many. The 14-year-old girl, the stepdaughter of one of the gate guards there at Fort Bliss, that was living in the barracks for 4 months, being sold day in and day out, um, pimped out day in and day out. As 14 years old, you're still sleeping with your teddy bear, or you should be. But the grooming and the sex cult of it all, and then you have the crisis pregnancies, right? The crisis pregnancies, because the girls are not protected. The family is not protected. Uh, Sexual activity is not protected. Everything is put into chaos. Uh, there's no loyalty then with any of it. And so then you have a crisis pregnancy, right? And and so then you get desperate, and then you might go to the La Diablas, Martha Aguiar, her emergency C-section mill, but she's a La Diabla. She's a devil, right? She's a she devil, and she doesn't just want to do this emergency C-section, which a lot of times it hurts the baby. Um, and then they target the LGBTQ community to sell these babies because, they don't want any questions of where'd you get the baby, right? Um, if the baby survives the emergency C-section, because when you have a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old performing these C-sections, and that's exactly what was happening. And Tulsi Gabbard was talking about this in the DNI report about La Diabla. Then, you know, they didn't stop there. They took the mother's life by um, harvesting organs, and of course, like even corneas. Corneas are number one, and then of course kidneys. Kidneys are a big deal, and um, uh, and this was their mill. Their mill, mill, and flesh. The flesh peddler, um, all connected to purchase, all connected to Raphael Arliano Caron and his mother, Rosemary Arliano Caron. But she has lots of names, right? She has lots of names. Um, and of course, when you look at the Plenitude Crematorium, you see the house that's connected to the courtyard area. There's a little doorway in the wall that clearly it's one property, and that property belongs to the mother. The business is owned by her son. Um, and so thank you so much. Thank you so much. In Mexico, it's known dad pimp out their children. Yeah. Um, there's just there's no family esprit de corps, right? Just like my dad was saying, that was missing in the unit. There was no esprit de corps, no pride in the loyalty itself. That gives you love for the unit, right? The unit and the love for your family. And the family is the chief institution of God, right? And so to mess with the family like they have, and to create this huge sex cult culture, um, is really an assault on God and his institution. So, it's very clear that this allowing polygamy is a very, very big problem. It's a very big problem. Everyone then is looking for a girlfriend or a boyfriend, right? So, all kinds of problems. So Richard, very possibility that they did organ harvesting, and it evidence confirms that his remains were found at the Plenitude Crematorium. There's no doubt in our mind about that, no doubt at all. And so we are in this um, vicious negotiation for the repatriation of his remains, uh, uh, because this is, their death knell. This is a bell that's ringing in their ears that they don't want to answer to, of the crime that they've committed. And uh, Richard's remains represent the entire network, the entire syndicate of their crimes. And of course, President Trump is, in our opinion, I don't know if this is exactly what he's doing, but in our opinion, he's pitting the El Mayos against the El Chapitos, and then dividing the Sinaloa, and then using the La Linea, um, the armed branch of the Juarez cartel, to cause even more problems with them. Uh, you know, you, to destroy the whole thing, to destroy this whole power structure. The whole Perel shooting at the uh, with the horse. Not a horse was injured. It was very. It's like they had intelligence helping them, and they used their absolute best shooters because no civilian was hurt, right? These were all leaders, leadership roles, big leaders, y'all, these are millionaires setting millionaire bets on these million dollar horses, right? Um, so this was a really big hit, and we're getting around twelve of them, um, more than 10 killed, right? So this is a reshaping of the borderland. It's total reshaping of the borderland. And 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 you have to call it the borderland because the criminal trafficking is, from South America all the way up into Canada, and into the United States, and then they ship them out with all these shipping containers. We know that they were shipping out, loading these shipping containers and trafficking and shipping them out. You can go, or the word that the evidence that we indicates is out of Houston or out of San Diego, out of California, That's already been caught. So, and also you can do it by air. And how would you do it by air? Well, would you do it through Fort Bliss? I don't think so. It's hard. There's a lot of paperwork if you want to fly out of Fort Bliss. So you have to get a little private. You don't want to get El Paso Airport because that's also, a major hub, and you have to do paperwork, and regulations, oversight is definitely there, and of course, all the let me check your shoes and check your this and check your that. But if you go to Santa Teresa Jetport, there's hardly any checks at all, right? And that is also connected then to Woody Hunt with Francis Aeronautical. They're also connected with Woody Hunt. So yeah, that is the airport of choice. And it just happens to be in the direct flight line of Zorro Ranch, right? And could they do that? Trafficking, could they do it? Absolutely, they could do it because there's very little oversight of Santa Teresa Jetport, and it's right there by restricted airspace. And not just any kind of restricted airspace, the largest restricted airspace in the United States. It's the largest, at least in the 48 states. It's the largest. There's no other like it. There's no other like it, right? And Fort Bliss, of course, right there by Juarez, but you have White Sands, and White Sands is huge, y'all, huge. And I know this from being a kid because I was born on the range, right? And when you're born somewhere especially unique like White Sands Missile Range, you ask your daddy, Daddy, tell me about where I was born, right? We would visit it. We lived there. We visited, so God's hand is all over this because, I already have this education about White Sands Missile Range since I was born on the range, not in El Paso. I was born, my birth certificate says White Sands Missile Range, Donna Ana County, New Mexico. That's where I was born. And so I know that it's huge, and I know what they were doing there. I know all the testing that they were doing there because my dad worked there. My dad worked there. Um, and I wish my dad was alive because he could tell you, he's just there wasn't a person that he met that he didn't turn into a friend, I mean, my dad, is famous. We would always laugh because he would say, "Hi, my name is Richard." Of course, Richard is named after my dad. Um, where are you from? Where are you from? That's the first question he would ask. Where are you from? And he would start this long conversation. And so, he loved going places and seeing things and telling us about it. And um, so we know about the Germans. We know about NASA there and Disney there and the tunnels, all the tunnels, lots of tunnels. And we know that Zorro Ranch had lots of tunnels. That's been reported. There's lots of tunnels. There's a grid, there's a grid. This is very interesting land. It's very interesting history. And and it's big. It's really big. You can put Fort Bragg on there, and you can put Fort Hood on there, and there's plenty of room for others, because the land is so huge. So when people say, "Wait a minute, Zorro Ranch is, it's way up north. It's way up north, and New Mexico. It couldn't possibly be on the edge of Fort Bliss. I mean, on White Sands Missile Range. It couldn't possibly be touching White Sands Missile Range or being on the edge of it or near the edge, because a lot of people don't even know how big it is. They just don't even know. It is huge, and they have the northern cut up or cut out or whatever, where they add it when they're doing special high altitude testing, right? They do a lot of high altitude testing, of course, with missiles and of course with drones and of course with the balloons. They do the high altitude, high pressure balloons there. And so they have these special areas that they will use. They have a western cutout area. They have the northern area, and when that is added, it even makes White Sands Missile Range bigger, even bigger. If they can make it bigger, they even made it bigger, and it gets up to very close to that little airport. It's a hardtop airport right there in the middle of the desert. I put up let me see if I can get my picture on there and see if I can even show it to you because I think that's, yeah, here it is. Here it is. So let me show this to you because, um, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. So here's Zorro Ranch up north here, but look how high this call up, right? Um, how high White Sands goes. It goes up really high. Because everyone knows this area here of White Sands. They all know this uh, famous with the white patch, right? The White Sands where I got my hair coloring. My hair coloring comes from the White Sands of New Mexico. That's what my dad told me. So, this is the famous area. But look how it extends way up, uh, and it just almost reaches Albuquerque, right? It's really, um, and then here's this Otto Vor, and I can't tell you that I'm a professional. I can't tell you that I understand this. I know it's some kind of navigation. Uh, for pilots. They tune in. It's like a radio. It's like a satellite dish. It's a huge satellite dish, and it's right there. Here is a picture of it. You can zoom into it. You can zoom into that, and you can dial your plane into that, and it will look. It's only like 4 miles from the runway. I think it's maybe it's 5 miles, but it's 4 miles. It's like right there to the runway for Zorro Ranch, right? I mean, Jeffrey Epstein had it totally worked out. He had it totally worked out, right? Because all you had to do, if you were down here in Juarez and you wanted to come through here, you could even take off from Santa Teresa Jetport, and you fly over here. You dial in. This was like an emergency landing strip airport here. That's a hard top too, and then you dial into that, and it just brings you right into Zorro Ranch, right into there. Here's the Zorro Ranch is right there, and this is the landing strip, and they have a hangar right there. Um, Here's a picture of Zorro Ranch. So I hope that you go. This is a Trinity site. Trinity. A lot of people think that White Sands Missile Range just ends at the Trinity site. That it goes up to that, and then that's where it stops. But you see in this map, it goes much further north than Trinity site. Okay, much further north. So, it's just very interesting. Uh, you know, and and it's not many people know that. I didn't know as much as I do now. I was aware of it. I was aware how big it was because my dad would tell me. And when we went there to look for Richard, when he went with us in 2020, he went up to Alamogordo. He visited friends up there to get information, right? We have friends there. Like I told you, my dad didn't meet anybody that he didn't turn into a friend, right? Um, and so he still had old friends there, and got a lot of information for us. So yeah, Jeffrey Epstein had absolutely everything. He had criminal trafficking handed to him on a silver platter, right? If he wanted it, he had it to him handed on a silver platter. That is no accident. And, it's also very telling that that's never been raided. That Zorro Ranch has never been raided, right? It got sold off. True. He was leasing government property for $200 a year. Wouldn't you like to lease some property for $200 a year? I mean, yeah. So this is, and I'm looking at Laura's, um, yeah, looking at the comments that Laura is making. She's corroborating what I'm saying. That's what she's doing. She's absolutely corroborating from her own experience, right? As a daughter, she says she's a daughter of one of these Mormon faction people that believe in this polygamy stuff, right? Or lots of girlfriends, lots of boyfriends, lots of girlfriends, and not loyalty to their family and to their children. So, and they do favor, that there is nepotism. Okay, there's a lot of nepotism. So I want to clarify that. But there's could go on and on about how our mountain of evidence, what that all suggests. And that goes to breaking news about Connell Wetton, who is, part of this Mormon faction, who was the inside man in the FBI office for Woody Hunt, right? He's the inside man for the Mormon faction that are up to no good. And clearly they are up to no good because they have all this power, all this money, and look at what they're doing to the community. They just exploit, 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 and just want to ruin people's lives. So, Connell Wynn is still an assistant special agent in charge there in the El Paso field office for the FBI. But just breaking news. It seems like he's under investigation now because what our sources are telling us is that he's been cut off. He's been cut off from any kind of intelligence briefing on cases. So this is huge news, really huge news, and I hope that you share that post that I just put up of Connell Wenton, falling out of the intelligence trust, out of the intelligence trust. So this is a very big news, and it corroborates what we have been saying because he was a leaker. We know that he was a leaker, big time leaker. So you can say he's a leaker, and he was also the inside man for a criminal syndicate. Okay, and that criminal syndicate works with foreign and domestic enemies, also with the Mexican cartel, and big part of them is this Mormon faction. So that is really huge news. So the other news is this whole Bill Hicks thing is really coming sharper into it because Bill Hicks is the lawyer for Salvador Purchase, and Purchase is uh, getting to be very, very into this whole thing. What's going on? Okay, and I'm going to tell you more of it as it sharpens. But I don't want to mislead you, right? I'm just saying it's watch out for attorneys like Bill Hicks. He's up to no good, um, uh, and there's a lot of conflicts of interest, and of course he's a usurper. That no power to be a prosecutor, and it seems like the those in power that could do something about it like it that the prosecutor's office is broken. They want the prosecutor's office to be broken. I think that they aid and abet for the prosecutor's office to be broken because the prosecutor would probably need to prosecute them, right? So that's why that's happening. So we need to really call out for prosecutors. We need prosecutors, and Bill Hicks is not the one. He's not the one. Um, so absolutely. Uh, we are in this vicious negotiation, and you can tell with all the information that's coming out. And I want to thank Laura for doing that, staying up so late and giving us this information. um and everything needs to be scrutinized, everything needs to be double checked, triple checked, for us to tell you what happened. This mill, this syndicate, this criminal trafficking network that Richard was trapped. Well, he was reporting as a whistleblower. And then, of course, his remains were trapped in it, and we're trying to unleash it. He's crying. And I wouldn't say crying, he is absolutely haunting everyone, in order for his and I can tell you this, knowing Richard, he will never give up. He will never give up. And he's haunting them to get accountability out there. So thank you so much. Yes. Yes, this whole thing with the lawyer, right? With the Mario um Ortiz, right? Ortiz Zaraldi. That is such a good example. I mean, he's really up to no good, and they're not calling him the trafficker that he is. They're saying he um, solicited. Well, you have to have a prostitute to solicit. There wasn't any prostitute. There was a trafficked woman. A trafficked so much going on that and we need those prosecutors. Leilani Hart needs to be arrested for sure. And many others like Dallas Hart, of course. That's even more than just an arrest, because he is the suspect in taking Richard's life. So, yeah, we need the prosecutors. So pray for the prosecutors, dear Lord. Give us prosecutors, give us righteous prosecutors, so that we can get justice and we can bring peace and um, righteous borders. Uh, in Jesus' name, amen. So this is what we really need. And so keep praying. Keep praying. Um, my friend told me today, she said, I think it was the president of El Salvador, how he's changed. I will be back.